Imagine this. Months of rumors swirling. Video footage analyzed frame by frame. Every glance interpreted for hidden meaning, and suddenly, one sentence from Bai Jingting puts it all to rest. Not a typical clarification. Not even a standard celebrity denial. But something that makes everyone pause and reconsider. Amidst the frenzy of China's never-sleeping entertainment industry, the names of Bai Jingting and Zhang Ruonan have long been a hot topic. Not just because of their ever-increasing popularity, but because of something even more difficult to explain. A chemistry that feels too real to be mere acting. Fans begin to formulate theories. From small interactions behind the scenes, to the way they look at each other in interviews, to seemingly random details. Everything feels like puzzle pieces pointing to one big possibility, that there's something between them. But like all stories filled with speculation, the truth always seems far away, until finally the moment arrives. In an interview that initially seemed relaxed, Bai Jingting is faced with the long-awaited question, what exactly is the relationship between him and Zhang Ruonan? The atmosphere changes instantly. There's no light-hearted laughter. There was no evasive answer. Just a brief pause before he began. Instead of a dramatic answer, Bai Jingting chose his words very carefully. He didn't deny it vehemently, but he didn't confirm it either. He spoke about professionalism, about dedication to the role, and about how two actors can create a strong connection for the sake of the story. But that's precisely where the surprise lay. Because his explanation didn't feel like a defense. There was no defensive tone. There was no attempt to quickly quell rumors. There was just a calmness and an honesty that felt so genuine. He acknowledged that an intense working relationship can create emotional closeness. That when two people truly understand a character and a story, the line between role and reality can feel thin. And that it was part of the process, not something to be misunderstood. The answer immediately sparked a wave of reaction on social media. Some fans were relieved. They saw this as confirmation that everything was just top-notch professionalism, that the incredible chemistry was a testament to the quality of the acting, not a personal relationship. But on the other hand, others were even more convinced that something was being hidden, because, in their opinion, Bai Jingting's composure was too perfect, too controlled. It was as if he knew exactly what to say and what to keep quiet. Debate was inevitable. The interview video was replayed millions of times. Every intonation was analyzed. Every expression was scrutinized. Even the slightest pause in his speech became the subject of lengthy discussions on fan forums. Interestingly, Zhang Ruonan herself didn't respond directly. Her silence added a layer of mystery. Did that mean she agreed with what Bai Jingting said? Or did she simply choose not to escalate the situation? Behind all this, one thing became clear. The public isn't just interested in facts, but also in possibilities. In what-ifs. In the gray areas that aren't fully explained. And perhaps that's where the power of the story lies. Because in the entertainment world, sometimes what isn't said is louder than what is said. When an actor chooses to speak calmly, without sensationalism, it can be more shocking than even a major confession. Bai Jingting didn't give the answer everyone was expecting. But precisely because of that, he managed to change the course of the conversation. From simply, are they dating, to something deeper. How we perceive the relationship between reality and acting, between acting and feeling, between what appears to be real and what actually happens. And perhaps, in the end, that's the real answer. It's not about whether there's a relationship or not. It's about how two people can create something so convincing that the outside world feels compelled to search for meaning. An illusion that felt real. A connection that was hard to explain. And a statement that, without the need for excessive sensationalism, managed to shake everyone. But the story wasn't truly over. In fact, after that statement, the public's attention began to shift to things that had previously been overlooked. People began rewatching the projects that brought them together, trying to re-examine each scene with a new perspective. Was it really all just acting? In certain scenes, the emotions conveyed were subtle, yet profound. It wasn't just dialogue or facial expressions, but a natural flow of energy. And here a new question arose. Could professionalism alone be enough to create such depth? some industry observers began to chime in. They believed that what Bai Jingting demonstrated was actually a sign of maturity as an actor, that he understood the line between personal life and work and chose to keep that line clear in the public eye. Still, for fans who had followed their journey from the beginning, that explanation felt incomplete. There were emotions that couldn't be explained through logic alone. There were small moments that felt too spontaneous to be planned. Over time, this discussion became more than just about those two names. It evolved into a broader reflection on how the public consumes stories, how we often want to believe in something beautiful, even if it isn't necessarily true. Social media has become a space of endless interpretation. Everyone has their own version of the story. Some choose to believe what was said, while others prefer to believe what they felt when they saw the two interact. Amidst all this, Bai Jingting stood his ground. He didn't add clarification, didn't elaborate. It was as if he had said enough, and the rest he left to the public to interpret. This attitude, for some, only further reinforced his image as a calm and collected figure. He didn't get carried away and wasn't tempted to escalate the issue, an approach rarely seen in the often drama-filled entertainment world. And perhaps therein lies the true appeal of this story, not in certainty, but in the uncertainty itself. A space where facts and feelings intersect, creating a story that lives on, even after the final words are spoken. As time passed, the intensity of the discussion began to subside, but traces of it remained. Their names were still frequently mentioned together, no longer as a hot rumor, but as a symbol of something that once deeply engaged the public. Interestingly, some fans began to see things more calmly. They were no longer obsessed with seeking definitive answers, but instead enjoyed what was given, a work with strong chemistry and moments that felt genuine on screen. On the other hand, others remained steadfast in their belief that one day, perhaps there would be a clearer confession, or perhaps an unexpected moment that finally revealed all the mysteries that had been hanging in the air. But until that time comes, or perhaps never comes, the story of Bai Jingting and Zhang Ruonan will live on in one of its most powerful forms, as a story that makes people believe, question, and continue to wonder. Even as the spotlight slowly shifts to other issues, one thing remains hard to erase: the lasting impression they left as an on-screen couple. Many are beginning to realize that not everything needs to have a definitive answer to remain meaningful. Some fans even admit that this mystery actually makes them appreciate the work even more. Without certainty, each scene feels more alive, freer to be interpreted according to one's own feelings. Behind it all, the entertainment industry is once again showing its true face, that narratives are not only constructed by what happens, but also by how the public chooses to perceive it. And in this case, the story that forms feels much bigger than just two individuals. There's a kind of beauty in this ambiguity, a space where imagination, hope, and reality intermingle without clear boundaries. And perhaps that's why this story is so hard to forget. Bai Jingting may have finished his part, at least for now. But for the public, the story continues, evolving in discussions, theories, and feelings that have yet to reach a conclusion. And in the end, perhaps it's not the answers that matter most, but the emotional journey created along the way, a collective experience that makes everyone feel part of something bigger.